So this video explores Amazon's mission and my experience as an Amazon customer with a large account, mainly as a buyer. Amazon mission statement says, "Our vision is to be the Earth's most customer-centric company, to build a place where people can come to find and discover anything they might want to buy online." Interestingly, in doing a search for Amazon's mission statement, I went through dozens of pages and articles without actually finding Amazon coming up at all in its own mission statement. And if you do go to Amazon and type in mission statement, nothing comes up relating to Amazon's mission statement. And so that in and of itself, when as a buyer, I can go on Bing or Google and type in sneakers, and Amazon will show up with a link to sneakers. But when I type in Amazon mission statement and I can't even find a link to Amazon's mission statement, you realize where the priority is. Now, another quote that I found was, "We strive to offer our customers the lowest possible prices, the best available selection, and the utmost convenience." So what I'm going to do is look at this from a couple of different angles and share why my experience as a consumer is of decreased trust. In this case, trust that Amazon is focusing on me as a buyer in its primary business, and outline a few of the many ways that Amazon has downgraded its core value to me as a client, as well as the many ways Amazon has deflected and refused to act on any communication about this. I've had probably 20 email interactions with Jeff Bezos. In one of his interviews he said, "I read all my emails, and so send me an email at jeff@amazon.com. So when you send an email to jeff@amazon.com, you get a response from someone. It's actually a team. You get a response from a variety of different people who, basically, I guess, somewhat keep up the illusion that Jeff is paying attention. And in all 20 of those interactions, there's never been a shift in policy. And all 20 of those interactions, I point out cases where sometimes everyone at Amazon is being hurt, including the customer, and sometimes I'm not liking something. And I find it interesting if you look at the thing of, this customer-centric. Customer-centric means the customer is at the center. One of the Amazon reps told me that I have one of the biggest Amazon accounts that they've seen, and I don't know, what their big accounts are, but I've bought somewhere over 1,000 items on Amazon, of all different sizes. And so what I'm addressing mainly here is not a criticism of Amazon to an extent that I don't want to buy there, but rather a trend and an integrity issue. I used to write to business owners about Amazon and promote it, and it was all about integrity, all about feeling that the customer came first. And so I think it's the biggest fans of a company that are most disappointed when a company gets off message and drifts off course. So think of this as a challenge to Amazon leadership to step up to the plate. So one of the things that I think is useful to look at is, what is Amazon in the business of doing? And for myself, and I think a majority of Amazon customers, Amazon is in the time-saving business. meaning the reason that I buy something sight unseen often and wait a couple days for it is not because I'd rather wait a couple of days, or that I wouldn't like to be able to open it up or talk to the rep or know that I could, just walk down the street and return it. Now, the reason I buy from Amazon is to save time. And there are a couple of different metrics around this. The first is the ease of search. The second is the quality of the reviews. Meaning when you go down to the local hardware store and look at 3 types of epoxy, you can't break that down and say, and see that 10 people liked this one and 20 hated it, and 300 people liked this other one and no one hated it. They all, of course, are selling themselves in the hardware store, the best epoxy ever made, 5-minute epoxy, 5-minute epoxy, 5-minute epoxy. And so, and then you have to go and find a store rep. Have you used any of these epoxies? Which ones actually work? It's all very well saying this is a 2-ton epoxy. I bought it and, the thing fell apart in my hands. I don't pull 2 tons. What's going on here? What does this actually do? And so that personal contact, waiting for someone on staff, and then the person that comes up on to look at the glue. Have you used any of these glues? No, that would be Marty. Well, where's Marty? Well, it's his afternoon off, or he's left for the day. And we're dealing with time. Now, of course, we're dealing with trust as well, and they go hand in hand. The more trust that I have in Amazon, the more I'm going to take their first pick. Because if I knew that you were the most knowledgeable person on glue in the world, which Amazon is, by the way, if I knew that you were the most knowledgeable person on glue, and I knew that you were acting in my interest, and you understood the situation, you understood what I was looking for, I wouldn't even look at the choice selection. I would assume that you're an intelligent person, that if there are 3 different products that will get the job done, and one of them is 1/3 the cost of the other, that being my friend, you're going to say, buy this one. It'll save you 2/3 of the money. It'll get the same job done. Because that's what a friend does. Now, when you say customer-centric, you're talking, in this case, about me. So what's central to me is what I need, what I want, with my values. So this is what gets interesting in the relationship with Amazon. I think the first thing that stands out in the clash of me being at the center is I have never received an email from Amazon corporate asking me a single question in more than 15 years of relationship and in buying over 1,000 products. So that doesn't sound like Amazon corporate is very interested in me. Now, have you received such a questionnaire? Has any customer of Amazon actually received a questionnaire? Now, this is a very interesting and important part of this question of how much integration, how much integrity is in this statement of a mission to make the customer the center of the deal. Because when you have one of the leading cloud-based companies in the world, meaning Amazon is one of the biggest cloud providers in the world, and it is a technology company, its entire service rests on this interface, this online interface with the customer. It is easy for a business like that to actually have more than 100, more than 1,000 different interfaces for Amazon based on those customers. For example, when I do a new landscape design for a client, I ask them 1 to 10, how much value do you put on resale value? How much value do you put on lowering maintenance? How much value do you put on saving money right now? How much money do you put on this lasting, 10, 20, 30 years as opposed to saving money right now? I ask my clients to rank their values on a 1 to 10 scale so that when I give them advice, I'm giving them my experience and my imagination synthesized with their values. Because I'm in the job of servicing my clients, which is the job of giving my clients value with the least amount of hassle, the least amount of money. I can't do that effectively if I don't ask them these questions. Now, Amazon has not only not emailed me a single questionnaire in 15 years and 1,000 transactions, it doesn't have an interface on its website for me to volunteer this information. I can't tell Amazon that in this category I value price over long lasting because, I just need to do a job and I need a tool that will get 2 hours of work done. And then I'm never going to use this tool again. So that's my value right now. And this other job, I'd like this tool to last 10 years. And, right here, this is, just something for a party. And so what I really want is it to be biodegradable. So the environment is I feel bad, frankly, putting all this stuff up and then throwing it all away the next day. So biodegradable, sustainable would be the primary value there. And it doesn't have to last. In fact, I'm going to throw it all away. So I don't get to communicate my values to the supposedly most customer-centric company in the world. Now, how likely is it that there's no more customer-centric company than me? It's almost, it's a joke. So the fact that I'm taking better care of my clients than Amazon is taking care of me makes a mockery of customer-centric. So with that, trust goes down. Now, Amazon is in the time-saving business, and that is in the trust-building business. So buy with one click, good move. Amazon saves me time. It's one of the biggest reasons I use Amazon rather than eBay. I also use Amazon more than eBay because Amazon does a better job with return and fraud than eBay. So Amazon's saving me more time, basically. And so Amazon does very well in the time saving to buy. But here Amazon and my interests collide because although Amazon is not owning it in its mission, our mission is to make as much money as possible. That's a clearly necessary goal for it to be in business. So there's a certain tension between making as much money as possible and making the customer as happy as possible. Those tensions need to be dealt with directly, and unfortunately, they're not being stated in the mission statement, so it's a hidden agenda. But which agenda is running Amazon's primary choice-making algorithm? When managers are bringing up issues, or when I write to supposedly Jeff, what's deciding that decision? Is it really what's good for the customer, or is it what's good for the corporation's bottom line? And so part of what is irritating is this level of hypocrisy without acknowledgement. I mean, it's no big news to say Amazon's another company out to make as much money as possible, but going about it in a slow way to build up customer trust and then ultimately exploit that trust to, be highly profitable. That's not a new story. But just own it, and don't fuck with people's minds. So Amazon is in the time-saving business. It's pretty good on the buying side. However, there are 3 major deviations that I've found in the last year or so that have sold out this core competency in time saving. And I want to address them because none of them are in my interest, and I have written about each one. I was never asked about each one, and I doubt any other Amazon customer was. So the first one is ads. Now I'm talking about ads for pizza at a local place. I buy all organic food. Amazon doesn't even ask what I'm interested in. So it doesn't ask what I'm interested in. It doesn't provide a place for me to say what I'm interested in. I don't want any ads at all. And so Amazon, the most customer-centric company on earth, puts ads for irrelevant products in my primary attention on its landing page. And I have to move away from that. I have to spend energy to get that out of my space, and I can't turn those ads off. Does that sound customer-centric to you? To be bombarded with stuff you're never going to buy, with no choice to turn the ads off, and no choice to express your values. It's the opposite of customer-centric. So that's the first violation of the mission and of the client-trust relationship. Now, right below the ads for pizzas I'm never going to buy and this and that is you type in the search. And the first thing that comes up are sponsored ads relating to your search. So now we're taking one step closer to the customer. So first were pizzas and movies I wasn't going to watch, pizzas I didn't want to, eat and all that. Now we get advertisement that is fed off of my information. So I've spent time, which makes my attention more valuable to Amazon's other customers, which are its advertisers. And so now I've said I want a wrench. Now, Amazon has in the past been more trustworthy. And so many people, having experienced that, will think that what Amazon would put on their first search is going to be what Amazon actually recommends. Because Amazon says it's customer-centric. Amazon said it's committed to doing what's best for the customer. I am the customer. I say I want a wrench. And whoever bid the most amount of money to buy my trust in Amazon is going to show their wrench there. And 90% of the time, it is not the wrench that a good friend would recommend that I buy for the price on that ad, which means that Amazon betrays that trust. Now, it's honest enough to say sponsored in very small letters, so that probably a good number of people don't notice that. Now, Amazon is in the time-saving business, so I have to scroll up to get rid of the sponsored stuff. Then I have to scroll up to get rid of more sponsored stuff, and then more sponsored stuff, and now we're supposedly in the free-for-all search algorithm. So the ads are not in my interest. The wasted time is not in my interest. I can't turn that off, which is not in my interest. And now we're finally in the supposedly native search, like if we use Google's rhythm. We're now out of the sponsored ads and we're now into the very best thing for your needs based on your good friend Amazon, right? Only most of the time, Amazon's own recommendation is not the first thing on that list. Now, if you keep scrolling down and wasting more and more time, burning up the only reason you're going to Amazon, which is to save time with confidence. It's not to save time and say, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrible if it doesn't work out, where you save time with stress because you're taking huge amounts of risk every time you press buy. No, you want to save time with confidence. Confidence about what? That you're going to end up with the best price product for your needs in as rapid, that it'll be shipped as rapidly as possible. And so that's what you're trying to do. And every one of these steps that I'm talking about are sellouts of that core competency to Amazon's other customers, which it ranks higher than me. I don't want those ads. I don't want anything sponsored. But I don't matter because Amazon has another set of customers that has the exact opposite of interest that I have. I have the interest of getting the lowest possible price and the most valuable and the best reviews, the lowest price, and having it shipped the most rapidly. That's my interest. That's not the interest of the Amazon sellers. The Amazon seller's interest is that I pay the most price possible, and the reason they're going to pay for a sponsorship is what they're betting on is that people will think that Amazon pledging on this mission statement really has their interests at heart. And so they're going to take the first thing that Amazon recommends, their good friend Amazon, who's only interested in the customer. And the customer's thinking, well, I'm the customer. And yet, it's a little bit of a tricky mission, isn't it? Because when you're the buyer and the seller, and when you as Amazon make more money when the customer buys the more expensive item based on the commission, in other words, Amazon's basically saying, okay, you can pay us money so that some poor schmuck who sees you as number one position will click buy, thinking that we're trustworthy. Now, you're obviously not going to be the cheapest person online. Why? If you're the cheapest person online, why would you need to be paid, by a sponsorship? And not only that, that sponsorship payment to Amazon eats into the cost. So anyone who's paying Amazon to be sponsored has to factor in a bigger overhead, which they usually pass on to the customer in a higher priced item. So then Amazon makes more money on the sponsorship and more money on the percentage of the higher price, and the customer who's buying the item loses out. Okay, so the customer can keep getting Amazon out of their hair, come down and get into the native searches. Well, one of the most fascinating things, and I've covered this on various screenshot videos, because all of this, you can see on different screenshot videos, is Amazon has an algorithm that says Amazon's choice. You ask what makes it be Amazon's choice. And they say this item is not returned very much, it's popular, and it's good value and a low price. Now, Amazon's choice doesn't even come up as the first item on the native search, meaning, once all the money and bribery is taken out of the picture, there's a native search that supposedly is going to bring you, what do you want? You want the lowest possible price, the best possible item. Now, obviously, Amazon hasn't asked that questionnaire, so they don't know whether you're buying this for a one-time item and you're going to throw it away, or whether you want it to last 10. They don't know that because they haven't asked. But let's say they assume that they know something, or at least most people are, like this, so they have Amazon's choice. That doesn't even come up. You have to scroll through sometimes several pages. And then you see Amazon's choice. And you say, okay, you're in the time-saving business. Exactly how many minutes have I wasted playing hide and seek to find the one item you actually recommend as a company? And whose interest is that in? Mine? Your seller? Whose? I'd say it's in the sponsor's interest, and it's in Amazon's short-term bottom line interest. It's not in my interest. And it's things like this done over and over and over again in this fishbowl type situation where you don't get to talk to anyone in there, and nothing ever comes out of that black hole. I mean, we've passed on your suggestion to the appropriate department. We're not going to tell you their response. We're not going to tell you who we passed it on to. We're not going to tell you why the obvious thing that's going to improve your value as our customer, the one we're promising to put as our center, we're not going to tell you any of that. Now, you can go to other things. So, when you have a company that's this committed to doing things that are not in your interest, you have to contact them at times. Well, try contacting Amazon in less than 2 seconds. Now, they could have something at the bottom of every web page or at the top. Contact us. Let's hear from you. They could do, but they don't want that. I'm pretty sure, based on my own experience as a business owner, that Amazon's goal is to wear out the customer so that if they don't actually care enough to spend about 5 minutes finding how to contact Amazon, that they won't do it. And in doing so, that Amazon will have to listen to fewer customers. Because the contact point on my website is on the top menu. When you're customer-centric, you solicit contact, in which case Amazon wouldn't be learning about this from a video made for other people. They would have learned this years ago by talking to me or by responding to email. You solicit contact, you make the comments public, and then you give every customer the right to vote on them. And when you have an idea proposed by one customer that 90% of everyone else who sees that idea says, yes, do that, that's what I want as the customer, and then Amazon does that, then it has a basis to legitimately claim to be customer-centric. When it does the exact opposite of that, it's a laughingstock. Amazon's mission is a joke. Its business model of how to make as much money and move things all is phenomenal. Its mission is a joke. And when you're smart enough to do the hard stuff well, and you really stick the finger right at your customers, how dumb does Amazon think its customers are? So this is a big issue. So this is in the buying arena. Now, Amazon has tweaked other arenas in the buying decision that are good for Amazon's short-term bottom line and irritate the hell out of loyal customers. Now, one of the things that, for example, happened today when I was buying 2 items is Amazon set its default to subscribe. So I want to buy, a bath towel. And Amazon says, well, why don't you subscribe and save, and you'll get 5 to 15% off future bath towels, and we'll waste your time because we'll assume that you need 1 new bath towel every month. 1 new bath towel a month. Why wouldn't the average customer want that? So let's put the default to subscribe and save, hoping that when you press buy with 1 click, you'll now be subscribed and get tons of bath towels you don't need. But we'll make more money because we've set that as the default. Now, can I change that default? No. That's one of Amazon's black boxes, another waste of my time at my expense. So it's messed with that in the last few years. Now, then the other thing that saves a lot of time is consistency. Now, when I first joined Amazon, I got 2-day shipping on everything that was Prime, period. I got free shipping on everything that was Prime, period. And if I wanted 24-hour shipping, I could pay an extra $3.99, period. Now, what's the thing that takes the most time? Well, the first thing is when you don't trust someone, because now you've got to spend time figuring how are they going to screw you over today. I bought a coat for my wife on Prime recently, buy with one click, thought it'd be here in a few days. Not so quick. A week later, I look online. Where's my coat? It turns out this Prime item being shipped from China was going to take 28 days. This did not have a big font. By the way, we're exploiting our Prime label, etc. Your jacket is going to take 28 days. Nor did it have an easy sorting thing so that when you're comparing different jackets, you could see 2-day jacket, 28-day jacket. No, that's just kind of folded in there, which means that every time I look at Amazon, I've got to waste time wondering, what are they going to fuck with today? They're clearly not acting in my interest. They don't care that I don't want to see pizza ads. They don't care that I have dairy allergies. They don't care about anything that I'd happily tell them. They don't care about giving me the lowest price. They don't care about the fact that I don't want a default of monthly towel supplies. No, they're going to do what they're going to do, and they don't care when I write to them. And interestingly, around this video and the mission statement, a mission statement is supposed to be the core of the company, defining the culture. We can't even find, my assistant and I cannot even find someone at Amazon that represents its own mission. How important is that person, right? You can't even find him? Can't find the mission online, can't find the person. So we write to try and find who knows. You know what Amazon does? The king of online? They say, if you want to write to us, you have to put it in the post. Because we're too dumb, we who run cloud computing, we're too dumb to respond by email. We couldn't possibly have an email with our corporate office because people might actually want to write to us. So what we want to do is, we know you're expecting to be able to email people, so you probably don't have stamps in your house. That'll slow things down a bit. And can you find envelopes anymore in this day and age? Well, that'll slow you down a bit. And then a printer? Oh, that'll get rid of a bunch of people. How much can we trickle down the communication with our customers so that we have as little contact as possible at every level and still get away with a mission statement that we're the most customer-centric person on earth? We're the most customer-centric company on earth. It's phenomenal. Now you think, okay, the board, interested in company culture, interested in customer loyal, minimal. So it's a joke, but the joke is on Amazon's most loyal and trusting customers. Everyone else seems to be cynical. Like, why on earth would a company do its mission? That's sad. Because I'm pretty sure that in the old days, and this goes back to power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Back in the days when Amazon relied on people to take a big bet in an unprofitable company, relied on people's trust. Trust was the core currency of Amazon. And its trustworthiness and hard work brought it to this point. And now it's burning that trust wholesale. So it's sad to see the way the mission goes out when dominance enters the sphere, because Amazon is now the big gorilla in the market. Because it played the trust game well early on, it gained position based on trust. Trust in the shareholders, trust in the employees who often work hard at low wages, and trust in the client who took risks to do something new. One of the hardest things to get anyone to do, take a risk to give you money and do something new. So it's really sad to watch that being burned up. So having wasted my time in the search and then wasted my time to switch the default, we still thankfully have buy with one click. We have to waste more time to see what does Prime membership actually mean for this shipping. Then we have other wasted things that have come in because Amazon will say free returns, but that does not mean the same thing anymore. Now it means some things that arrive defective that used to be automatic pickup at your house. Meaning if our supplier sends you the wrong part and you say this is the wrong part, we're out 2 days, we're going to have to send this back and get a new part. We're going to be out a week because of a mistake that our vendor made. Amazon used to take total care of you. Not anymore. I just got a faulty garage part. Wasn't the right part number, wasn't the right part, nothing. I waited 10 days for that to save time going down to the hardware store. Now, I say this is a defective part. And Amazon says, okay, print out this label, go down to the post office, mail it in, and then once we've got it back, in 20 days, we'll have fixed our mistake. And you'll get a new part. Now, it used to be they'd pick it up the same day and there, and off it would go by UPS, saving me time. Now I'm paying my time to fix the vendor's mistake. And they will not clarify that at the time of purchase. You have to wait and see who's going to make a mistake, and based on the return policy of the individual sellers. And I haven't been able to figure it out. I buy a lot, I can't figure that algorithm off. So it's a constant irritant to see what's going on, particularly when mistakes have gone up. Now, how do you know that trust is high? Well, you do it by how happy other customers are in the same domain. Now, what would you say if the leader in trust in the primary, if the primary seller, because what Amazon does is it competes with its own sellers. It says that if I, as a seller, I've sold things on Amazon, if I want to sell something, I can sell it for whatever price I want, and Amazon will take a cut. It's a pretty high cut, but it'll take a cut. Which means that Amazon is competing with me. Now, if it's doing what's good for its customers and I have the lowest price, it will put that as the first search result. It doesn't, and it goes to the sponsors, etc. Now, it's competing with me and other people. Now, there are many areas where Amazon does not have the lowest price, where its prime featured product isn't the lowest price. And so someone may want to go with another vendor. And the biggest question is who's more trustworthy in this case, the other vendor or Amazon? So, Star Phone cell phone company has sold 3,000 cell phones. 98% of its customers are happy. Pretty good track record. I'd buy from them. Okay, let's compare that to Amazon. Well, Amazon has just delisted its own ratings. The very rating system it started so that you could know who to trust no longer gets applied to Amazon because its ratings have fallen and it didn't want to compete. It didn't want to compete with other vendors. And so it's the only person who can list on Amazon where you don't get to see how many satisfied clients there are. Now, who does that? The company that's planning on a new resurgence of extra satisfied customers, or the company that's committed to crappy service, but still wants you to buy from them even when they have a higher price? So they might, Amazon often hovered around 85, and some of its sellers would be up at 93, 95, 98%. And Amazon couldn't compete because its It's not the most customer-centric company. I mean, how can you say we're the most customer-centric company if right next to you, in the choice of people selling this item, there's someone else that sold more things than you did and got a 98% customer satisfaction over thousands of items? You can't fake that many of them. I mean, there's a lot of faking that goes on in the different Amazon things, but you can't fake that many of them. So this is a really big deal. Amazon has recently, in this last year, delisted its own rank, saying we, Amazon, are the only company on our platform who don't want to let you see what you as a group think of us. Not because they're winning that game, because they're losing it. Because they're losing it. Nobody says, we're not going to show you our awards because they've got more awards than anyone else. They say they don't want to show their awards when they've got one or two dinky rewards and everyone else has got gold medals. And they say, let's not talk about awards. Well, the Trust Award is the primary foundation of Amazon, and it's being undermined. So we have erratic shipping. We have huge bites in trust. We have Amazon promoting the higher cost item. We have Amazon selling my attention to the highest bidder. We have defaults that are not in my interest or my control. We have a company that won't communicate. We have a company that will let me buy $5,000 worth of items with one click, but wants a 2-week snail mail exchange, and it hasn't even replied. That's the biggest joke of all. So, for those people that, if you want to get through that line and find your envelopes and get out your stamps and write to corporate, it hasn't even replied to a customer asking about the mission, about being the most customer-centric company in the world. How much more funny can you get? So we then come to other time wasting, and we'll deal with defaults. So we've got the default in search. We've got the easiest ways of, and the defaults around communication. We've got the defaults in buying, and then we have the defaults in return. Now, it used to be that it defaulted to the thing that you actually wanted. If you're a homeowner and you're trying to save time, and you want to return a defective item as quickly as possible, the thing that you want is UPS, who dropped the thing off, to come and get it as quickly as possible and exchange it for another item at your house so that you don't have to stand in line at the post office for 45 minutes, make a special trip. The core competency is time saving, which then translates over into trust as a core aspect of time saving. So it used to be that was the default. Not anymore. Now that's at the bottom of the list because that costs Amazon a bit more money. So the top is, how would you like a gift certificate? We sent you the wrong product. No doubt you want a gift certificate. So have a gift certificate. Or how about a drive to the post office? Wouldn't you like that? And then several items down, like, okay, we'll pick it up if you insist. If you insist that we replace a defective product or the wrong order, we'll come and pick it up. If you insist. That's not customer-centric. How about let's do that first? Now there's items that don't have that option at all. Imagine driving for 20 minutes and standing in line to drop off a $10 part that was defectively sent. It wasn't even the right part. How fun is that? Or I threw it away. It's not worth my time, which creates garbage. Garbage facilitated by this return protocol. Now, Amazon, as the big gorilla in the room, could easily request that every single vendor on its shop have a pickup feature if the item was defective. Easily. And if they got rid of some of the companies, that saves me time. I don't want to deal with companies that would rather waste my time for their mistakes. Get them off of there. Because I don't need to see 200 people all selling the same product. I don't need to waste my time, going back to time, to sort through 200 versions of the exact same thing. I just want the most reliable seller in my interest with the fastest shipping at the lowest price. And those should all be in the top 4 searches. The fact that they are not is the biggest waste of everyone's time. And when Amazon is this big of a effective monopoly, when you think of the millions of hours of time in America being wasted so that Amazon can convince crappy sellers to put their stuff on Amazon, even at high prices and bad service record, because that's how Amazon makes money, not how you and I save time. That's a sellout of this country. Trust built Amazon, and that trust is being sold off at millions of hours of time each year. I mean, I've wasted probably 30 hours a year looking for things that Amazon could have done its top choice at the top. Because I don't trust Amazon. That's 30 hours a year. And I take my spare time and I put it in a nonprofit. That's 30 hours a year from my nonprofit to find out how Amazon isn't giving me the best price up front, how it's selling my attention to other people. So we have it in returns, we have it in communication, we have it in various changes. And here's what Amazon can easily do to be the most customer-centric person. We even have it in ads and movies. When they did Prime, I bought a movie, Dances with Wolves. Now, in the most touching moment at the end, in the music, it was just so beautiful. Only Amazon put an ad in that I didn't want and switched and blew that ad up, ruining the music, ruining the final scene for a movie I would never watch in a million years. It's not even that it barged into the movie I rented. I wouldn't even have watched the movie, and I couldn't get it off. I had to get out of bed and fight with my TV to get Amazon's bullshit out of my face. That's a betrayal of trust. I said, I don't like this. Can I turn this off? They said no. You want to know what the most customer-centric company says to its customers? No. There's no way to turn it off. We're too dumb to figure that out. Of course, we could have a little button, don't barge in on the next movie. We could have a little questionnaire, what kind of movies do you want to watch? We could do that, but we're not going to, because we don't care about you. So I think this is a slow and gradual undermining of Amazon's most valuable resource, trust and time saving, which go hand in hand. And I think this hurts Amazon shareholders as much as it hurts Amazon customers in the long run. And I don't like quarterly people making decisions about a good company or about my time. I want leaders that understand the customer's primary role and value in Amazon's past, present, and future, who are not going to slowly erode shareholder value, customer loyalty, customer trust with another cynical story of how American business sells out once it feels it can get away with it. It's just really sad and disgusting. So if there's anything that you want to share about your experience with Amazon, anything you want to see changed, it's so easy to switch all of these things. It can be done in a heartbeat, and the customer can come first. The question is, which customer? Because when your sellers are your customer and your buyers are your customer, and you're in the middle trying to make as much money as possible, which customer is more important. You can't have it both ways. You're either going to do what's best for the buyer, or you're going to do what's best for the seller, or you're going to compromise and do something crappy for both of them. You can't have it both ways. Thanks for watching. I want to conclude this video by a quick list of just the most basic things that anyone can easily think about to replace or provide a new interface for Amazon. So there's a couple of ways that this can happen. One is that another company comes in and gathers the relevant algorithms and extracts Amazon links as an affiliate and then sends people back to Amazon for the actual purchase, or that does all of that in-house. Because what I'm trying to do here is to create an interface that is about 300% more valuable than the current Amazon interface for the same stuff. There's nothing wrong with the products. There's nothing wrong with the pricing. What is wrong is the sellout of attention and special interests to the sellers as opposed to the core client. So number one, no ads. You can do a search, you can come on, no ads. Number two, no sponsored products. Number three, an easy contact point on every page with screenshot. For example, this is how bad it gets at Amazon. They recently got their links wrong, and so that you couldn't share a product anymore. It would open an email dialogue and without a shortened link. And there was no way to tell them because they don't have a screenshot problem on this page feature. And so an easy contact problem on this page, screenshot video, etc., that anyone can share what's going on. Personalized, customizable pages. You get to decide the way you want to experience the data. Color, minimalistic, you decide. Amazon Choice is the very top, meaning we don't even necessarily go into other products, but if so, they're under all of the Amazon Choice, which are the low return, lowest price, etc. They're right at the top. All reviews postable immediately. I've gone online multiple times because I received some crappy thing that doesn't work. And I want to tell people as I'm boxing it up and as it's on my mind, and Amazon says, we're not accepting reviews for that product right now. Well, right now is when I want to get that out. So are we on Amazon's schedule for, would you like us to come back and review it next Tuesday? They don't even give a time. All reviews postable all the time. 100% policy that anything that is broken or sent out that is defective is picked up. If it is determined that that was not broken or that was the correct product, then it can be billed subsequently. But if a client tells Amazon you sent out the wrong product and I'm now late, you don't ask them to go to the post office. Shipping colors as a color-coded phenomena. So no more reading the fine print to find out that Prime now means a whole variety of different times. Let's just have a color for 1 day, a color for 2 days, and a color for all things longer than 2 days. With this amount of when it will be due at the latest time in that color. And when you search, let's be able to search 1 day, 2 day, or the full range of days. Eighth, you cannot go on to Amazon and find out how much you've spent for the month. Try and get a statement summarizing total spent this month. Forget it. Make that easy. In account, have that be the first thing. This is the Excel version. This is the PDF version. Here's your total for the month. 9, default refunds when you're returning something defective or that doesn't work very well. Don't ask me if I want a gift card. Default refunds. I can order a gift card on my own. And 10, a pro in every field. Whether it's plumbing, electrical, electronics, a professional that is dedicated to that field, that does nothing but answer questions, and that does various workshops comparing, you put in, for example, you want a camera, you want these qualities, you want it under this price, and that they certainly borrow and link to all the various articles that are best on, those particular cameras if they're out there. But that is there basically to communicate based on your profile what's likely to be most interesting to you. Finally, I want the ability to create buy profiles where I specify, because, for example, I'm a contractor, and there is one profile where I'm going to be giving something to my crew which is terrible on tools and is going to be just a very rare use item. So I want to buy that one as cheaply as possible. So that's the cheap and disposable profile. When I search for something, I want to be able to set a default profile and to be able to very easily see what I'm looking for, or maybe get search results in all 3 profiles, which once all the ads and the junk is cleaned out, I could get search results in all 3 profiles, one stacked upon the other, and it doesn't take up more than 2 pages of scrolling, as opposed to all the clutter currently there. Now, in one profile, I'd have the cheapest possible thing. And another profile, I might have cheap and expensive, but definitely getting it to the site as fast as possible. And then in the third profile, I would have quality and other, or maybe the most environmental, or whatever it is that I value. I get to set the profile, and then what shows up is measured against those values. Finally, what if I want something like a kayak, something I just bought for $80, and it's not the price. I use that kayak 2 times a month. People in my neighborhood are welcome to use the kayak, but they don't know it's there, and I don't know if anyone in the neighborhood wants to use it. And so I can't go in 20, and the kayak gets used. Something that's very useful in an environmental profile. There's no basis for borrowing and sharing. This is an incredibly important area for the environment, for space saving, and for getting to know the neighbors. So I want options of sharing it both locally and within the Amazon community. This is a product I'm willing to share. Now here's how Amazon can facilitate that. They can, first of all, have a share price. Maybe it's $10 every time they pick, per weight and per size, etc. And so every item comes with a share shipping price, which means if I pack it up in the original item and says it's available for share, and someone says I want to borrow it, and then I confirm it's out at the doorstep, Amazon picks it up and drops it off at someone else's place to share. And then they pick it up and pack it up and drop it back. Now, this is a different platform. This is a share platform, but it is facilitated by the fact that, for example, I get Amazon UPS trucks sometimes twice a day coming, to and from my house. They might as well pick something up while they're there and bring it to someone else. Or someone else in the neighborhood might as well get an alert that I've got it and it's listed for share under these terms. So I want Amazon to come up with 3 to 4 different ways that I can easily co-own. So, for example, here's another way. I want to buy a generator. I don't need a generator, but I'd like to buy it with, I'll put up $200 for primary location of the generator, and then anyone else who wants to buy it can put up 100, and then we'll share the generator. When those two people come online, it automatically signs on. The generator arrives along with the addresses of the other owners. This is a way that things can be more constructively used, that I can buy things that I wouldn't otherwise buy because they're in a shared framework. Now, a similar version that Amazon might set up is an Amazon locker. I'd like the ability to install an Amazon locker in my community where something is scanned in as I return it, along with any feedback of what went on, where the next person can give feedback of how it was receiving the product from me, was it clean, etc. And that basically there can be a hub of community-owned things that can be checked out with an app. I want to go get the kayak, I'm going to go get this, I'm going to go get the pressure washer, I'm going to go get this. And different lockers open for that period of time. And so in this way, an Amazon framework with phone, QR codes, etc., can literally facilitate a new level of community, can facilitate lower ecological impact, can facilitate more purchases of things that only make sense to do when, let's say, 10 other people are involved, and can involve Amazon and non-Amazon things. And so this framework, which could be sold as a kit, a community kit. Here's how to set up the Amazon box. And Amazon will deliver anything to that box. Box QA is open. It's the right size to receive this product. Amazon clicks over, delivers something, and the community has now receipt of that item. The box, the Amazon storage box needs to be expanded. It can be. Needs to be put in this person's yard. It can be. Needs to be moved to another place. It can be. It can be disassembled. The signals, the Wi-Fi, etc., can all be connected. And this can be a way that Amazon moves towards the mesh, towards the community web, which is one of the things that we are evolving towards as a culture. So this is all easy to do on top of Amazon's current program. It might take 2 or 3 guys 6 months to figure out all the different things. We'd have to see if the most customer-centric company actually attacks the venture, not wanting to provide the best service themselves, but not wanting anyone else to either, and switches from rather than giving affiliate fees. Because I think this would be a great nonprofit project where volunteers run the whole thing, volunteers code the thing, all the affiliate money goes into the nonprofit, and millions of hours a year are saved by these protocols. Millions of dollars are saved. Millions of garbage is saved. Millions of pounds of garbage are saved. And it's easy. It's an overlay that any kind of a search browser, etc., can start to do. So those are my thoughts, and love to get Amazon's feedback as well.